Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at. Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about uh, a poor Filipina or a rich Filipina. What is the best? A wealthy Filipina. And I got my compadre here. You can, those are on podcasts, can't really see him, but those on YouTube can actually see him. It's my little dog Omer. He's sitting here next to me. So today we're going to talk about a poor Filipina. Is she better than a wealthy Filipina? What is best? A lot of people have their own choices. A lot of people will tell you, and we've had this discussion before in many different ways or forms. We've talked about this in some of the live streams. Uh, you know, some people will say, "I want a wealthy Filipina, so I don't have to worry about giving her money all the time. I don't have to worry about anything. All I have to do is wake up in the morning, and she's not asking me for money all the time. She's going to go do her thing." Then some guys say, I want a Filipina that is poor. Some that's down to earth and can actually do anything and everything and actually help me uh, do things around the house and things like that. I want someone that's willing to work and willing to get out there and just dig down to it and get down to it. So which one is better? Now, it's a matter of opinion. A lot of cases. A lot of people will tell you, hey, my opinion is this, and they'll give 10 or 15, and someone will do that. There's a lot of pros and cons either way. But, uh, I really believe that a grounded personality, somebody that's grounded, understands what life is about, understands what the true meaning of work and how to get that money and what needs to be done to get it, and does not mind working. If it comes down to it, someone that is either poor and or wealthy, someone to get up, and if they had to go get a job or go do something, they would get up and go do it. No questions asked. Now you'll find sometimes that even a wealthy person is saying, "Oh, I'm wealthy, I don't have to do that," and a poor person will say, "Well, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I really don't want to do that at all." But I think a grounded personality, someone that is poor and someone is wealthy and have a good personality, they can do just about anything. Someone that has good family values, I have to say. I think it's someone, if they have good family values, something that you can, uh, they wake up and they take care of their siblings, whatever the need is, they take care of their family. If family is sick, or a cousin, a brother, or something like that. And I really think there's a need for that. Now, you'll have some people to tell you that a wealthy person will sometimes be better because they'll have the money and they can do this and they can do that, where a poor person doesn't have the money and they can't do anything. But there's love on both sides of the fence there. And I think if a poor and or wealthy, if they take care of the family, their siblings, their brothers, their cousins, or whomever that's in their family and take care of them, I think that's a big point. Another thing you have to look at are they giving personality? Is their personality giving? These are questions also that you need to ask yourself. What kind of girl do I want? Do I want one with good family values? This is one of the first things I asked Ruth. Do you take care of your sisters? Do you take care of your mom? What's going on with your dad? They give me the pros and cons there. And just like she asked me the same questions also. Sometimes I think all of us, we get stuck on the money situation. What I mean by that is wealthy and or poor. When I'm poor, I want to find somebody that's rich so I don't have to worry about this all the time. I have this stress on me and I'm worried about this. I cannot buy rice. I cannot buy food. I cannot buy clothes. I can't take care of my children I have. My husband is no good or whatever, or my husband is very good and he's trying to take care of me, and or I still am poor. Where a wealthy person would say, oh man, I want either more money, I need more money, or the money is here and or I don't have to worry about anything. But then again, too, you have to worry about somebody stealing it from you. You have many problems with that. Just because you have money does not mean that the stress and worry goes away. It doesn't. It's always going to be there for you. You're still going to have it no matter what. Because someone is either, if you have, with your wealth, you had to get your wealth, some kind of business, or, did you get it, somebody willed it to you, or you have farmland, where did it come from? So you really have to look at that. And I think really, if you think about it, a lot of them inherit that money or work it as a farm, because how do or industry. They maybe had a good job and saved their money and things like that. But I know of two engineer guys, actually guys that worked for years, really had good jobs. They run the power lines. They're civil engineers and mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, where they would run the lines. Some would do the mapping of the lines, things like that. And through the years, as they get a certain age, they've been let go. I mean, they're used to making some good money here in the Philippines. And they were let go, and they found themselves, 6 or 8 months later, poor, meaning they did not have enough money for rice and or food and things like that. And that really matters a lot. So you have to really take a look at and think about that, uh, because even if you are wealthy, it can be taken away from you. And sometimes people to get stuck on that money. I just want to say that. And sometimes you can get in a toxic relationship, meaning if she's poor and or rich, it doesn't matter. She's going to be toxic anyway. And so there are many foreigners that are married to women that are just toxic, whether it's someone that works on a farm or someone works is wealthy and doesn't work at all and stays at home. Now, you'll find too that a lot of wealthy people here that I've noticed, I've seen it both sides. I've seen a lot of wealthy people. Sometimes they have their nose stuck up. And what I mean by nose stuck up, I'm wealthy. But then again, too, I've seen poor people in a situation, well, I'm not going to do that. And their nose stuck up because they're just that way. That's their personality and their mindset. Their personality is what I call boots on the ground, not grounded. So, but too, there are some good and bad, of course, of both sides. And what I mean, if a girl focuses on money, here's a prime example of that. If a girl is a bar girl and they focus on the money because they're around money, they're around men with money, and whether it's foreigners and or people that are come in there to drink, or if it's a bar girl working in a bar, she's a bar, whatever girl she is, and they see the money, they see wads and cash money, and they may get cash, lots of money, and they may take care of their family and many family members, and they maybe get rich. But then again, too, you get a certain age, you're out of the bar girl scene. You're not going to be there any longer, because if you get heavy and you get fat and things like that, they're not going to have you there because you're not going to produce the dollars for them that you once did, and they're going to kick you out. And then where you find yourself. So that happens a lot. But a bar girl, say for instance, a guy comes in, say a foreigner, marries the bar girl, and wants more a relationship with that guy because she sees the money. There are girls that see the money, that want the money, but then again, too, will marry the guy, but not necessarily just to get out of the trap that they're in, you know. And that happens where the girl, no matter what, she's going to be grounded enough. Just get me out of here. Just get me out of this. I don't want to do this anymore. This is horrible. And wants to find a man to take care of her and maybe a child or two along the way, or maybe a child or two is coming along the way. Sometimes it's the age, how long they've been doing it. I find that from people I associated with in the past, that age, if they're in it for a young age and worked in that industry for a period of time, they're kind of stuck with that mindset. It's like the old saying in U.S. If a girl is, say, a bar girl in U.S., a stripper, and she goes and does her things, and believe it or not, they just get hooked on that mentality. And if they start at a young age, you're kind of in that industry from then on. Somewhere they're attached to it because that's what they know. They don't know to, how can I say, to find themselves out of that group, and they don't know how to find a job as secretary. They just really are used to the one-on-one communication with that other person. Sometimes also being a bar girl can be a lot of stress on someone that is young. They got to produce, they got to make money, and they got to make money for their family. And so that creates a lot of problem. But then the people that have those bars are wealthy themselves, and I'm sure they have kids. So you can see the scenario there. Poor ladies can be just as good as the wealthy ladies. But I've seen some wealthy ladies, I have to say, that have lost their money. I have seen some wealthy ladies that lost their money and completely lost their money and gone broke, and they had to go poor and then find themselves, oh boy, I'm poor now, so what do I do? How do I get back in this? I can't gain that money and all the money that we were making. My income was this before, now my income is this before now. And so whatever that amount is, if they're getting 100,000, 200, 300,000 income a month, and then all of a sudden find themselves with zero income, it changes the whole scenario in your mindset. So it can be detrimental for someone if they're going through that. And it goes the same for poor. Here's an example. The other day, Ruth and I was watching something on TikTok, and this is a prime example. This one girl that Ruth knows is on TikTok, and she started out on TikTok as a young girl, just making a few videos along and doing the best she could, and really just survived on 500 followers, just a constant 500 followers. Then it would get up a little bit more, a little more. But she found a product she started trying on. It was a facial beauty product, turn you white, because they're all Filipina want to be white. So she would try and put that on, and eventually the company itself said, listen, why don't you just go ahead and be a rep for us, and we'll make you a rep and to help you out, and it helps us out because you're selling quite a few of these along, 3, 5, 10 a night, and it got to the point where she's selling quite a few. And so she did that, and she started a business doing that. And for an example, the other, just one night, and she does this two nights a week or something. Just in one night, it showed her particular income, and she made 447,700 peso. So, which totals out, just rounded up, $3,000. So she makes $3,000 a night and on profit. So can you imagine that? So that girl goes from poor to rich. So, but her mindset is good. Her mindset is still good. Her mindset is she's grounded, meaning that she helps people in need. Someone doesn't have something, she helps, and she is a person you can go to and ask questions, and she helps you. But there are people that I've seen that go poor to rich, and that are rich and go back to poor, and really have a hard time dealing with that. And I think realistically, it's human nature. And I even myself, I remember times where I had an influx of cash, but it never changed my attitude because I was too busy working all the time. And how could it change my attitude? Because I was the same position, same job, same everything, but it was feast or famine. I put it that way. So I would go 2 years of great income, and then I'd go through 3 years of income. It was really horrible. And that's just the way the life was that I was in, the world that I was in. I was in sales, and the economy and life affected a lot of that. It had to do with what's going on in the world, the products I was selling, and things like that. But when it was good, it was good. And when it was bad, it was real bad. So the months that are lean, you would find yourself eating canned beans. And the months that you're rich, you are going out to eat, having steak. And so there was years like that of my life, many years like that. But I'd never changed who I was. I'd give somebody a shirt off my back, and I still will. And I have. And I think you have to look at it. There's a lot that affects a lot of people. Here's another prime example of something. Recently, there's the largest employer here in the Philippines went bankrupt. It was the large, I forget how many thousands and thousands. It's a large amount of employees, because I don't want to say a number because I'm not really quite sure how many. But there's a Korean American company. They were in the cargo industry. And that particular cargo industry, not only that, they had containers in the shipyard, the whole 9 yards, Manila, Davao, Cebu, Duma, CDO. These shipyards were scattered throughout the islands, and they would deliver the cargo. So you order something from China, they deliver it from China or Korea or from wherever you got it. Well, this company employed thousands, and they went bankrupt. Some bad investments. They own many, many, many different things that they own. They own restaurants. They were in the hotels. They were in a lot of industry, a lot of type industry itself. So they found themselves in a situation where it went bankrupt, and thousands of people lost their job in the Philippines. So the rich that were rich in that business found themselves in a poor situation. And what I mean by that, Now they're saying they're struggling. Now this happened a few months ago, and the ones that are rich, I know a few people that was employed there, and they're not family, but they're friends of the family. And I was talking to one of them, and he was telling me, "You're talking about going from good income. The guy was making about 2 million pesos a year, it's about 40 grand a year, which is really good money. And he found himself now I'm making nothing. So what do I do? Luckily, I had some investments, so luckily I had some money saved, and luckily I had this. I have enough to last me about 10 years, 5 to 10 years. But during this time, I better figure out what I'm going to do because, he's 50 years old, and he can retire, but then he knows that that money will not last him. And then what I mean by that, the money that he has, he will live like Filipino to make that money last 10 years. So he said, if I live like Western or live like we've been living, it's only going to last 2, 3 years or 4 years, maybe. But you can see the dilemma that's happened. So wealthy sometimes, I think all of us, I think everybody on this earth is found at times wealthy, rich, wealthy, rich. As far as finding a Filipino that is poor and is rich, which one is best? I really could tell you that it depends on the person and the personality of that person looking at that other person. If they look down on the poor or look up to the rich, that you can kind of see where they're going to be headed. But if they take people as who they are as a person, I think you'll find that the person itself will probably be pretty good just to find that person's personality that you agree with, and you work with that person, it'll help you a lot. I've seen a lot of people in my lifetime, and I think all of us have, and whoever's listening to this podcast, that have seen people go from rich with bad attitude to poor with good attitude. And we've seen poor with good attitude go all the way up to be rich with a bad attitude. But I've seen many guys, and I know some guys who become rich and still had a good attitude. And I've seen some that are not. But one of my friends that I had many years, he died 5 years ago, and he was a really good friend of mine for many years. We would talk every day, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. We worked together on a team, and he was financially secure. He was rich, but then in his latter years, the money had to go for the hospitals. He had cancer and things like that. The money depleted to zero, and he was telling me that all his friends had left him. And I said, that's when you really find your true friends. A true friend will accept you and take you and help you in times of need, whatever that need is. If that need is, if you need a couple of bucks or need food or need to be picked up at midnight or you fell on the ground and you'd be taken to the hospital, that person will get up and go do it, no questions asked. And if you're sick, he's going to be there or she will be there until. And that's the thing. We all need to look at that because we only live one time, and it's a small time we have on this earth, and that time frame is short. So, rich or poor, I say it's a choice. But then again, too, boy, you have to really make sure that you know. I know. I told Ruth, I said, one thing about it, you're not marrying a rich guy here. She said, I said, I'm telling you, I don't make any money. And I said, but I tell you what, you will never go hungry. You'll always have a roof over your head. And you'll always have someone to take care of you. And I said, that's all I can offer you. I can't offer you any more than that. If you want clothes and cars and bigger houses and you want to travel throughout the world, I can't give it to you. But I can give you a good life with stability, and I can give you a roof over your head and food. You'll have rice every day to eat and buying some type of meat. But as far as anything else, I can't guarantee you anything else. And so we had that agreement at the beginning. And the agreement was if I would do that, she would be there for me, which she has been. She always will be until. And even I tell you, this last year, even for me, because of the particular COVID situation, even my situation, this actually 2 years, my income has, because of investments I had at the time and because of things, is income has decreased to a third to where I was making. And so we've had to regroup. Well, I wasn't rich, and it's not like I had that much. But whether it's 1,000 and down to 300. I'm using that as an example. You can see the difference there. And so I'm down. I was down a lot to a third, and so it affected us so much that it literally affected her life so much. And she never said a word, and she never said one thing. If she wasn't able to go buy a top or a shirt or something, she would say, she would not say. She would not say anything. I said, "Honey, these clothes have got holes in them." And she said, "It's okay. It's okay." And I knew then. I said, "Well, we got to buy you some clothes. So here's $100. Go buy you our clothes." And that's what I did, and I still do. But our income is back up. It's not back up to where it was, but it's back up to where it's we can survival mode. But I've learned too. I had some investments I invested in, and uh, the company that I did was my old company. It's my company that I started. The company was a very sound, secure financial company, and they were doing very good in business. And then they went out and bought another company, and I said, "Don't do that because you're not going to be able after a year or so." Well, they lasted about 3 years longer than I thought, and they were paying the debt to me, and then they completely stopped because they had to go file bankruptcy because they had no more money. They're broke, which caused me to be broke. And so that income I was dependent on, survive on for a few years here, it's gone. And not only that, some other money. So I said, "Oh boy." And so we had to buckle it down and say, "Okay, nothing." And we were living on nothing, just my Social Security. So, which is fine. It's able to pay the bills and everything else, but there's no, extracurricular activities that you can't do. So I want to thank everybody for always watching my videos. And I want to thank everybody for always coming on. And thank you so much for listening. And I will see you guys next time on Tom and Ruth Podcast. God bless everybody.